Hey, what's good, everybody? I'd like to welcome everyone to the Boombox Guru channel. I'm your host, LB. So today I got a brand new book review for each and every one of you. But this book review is going to be a bit different than my normal book reviews because the book that I just finished reading as of the recording of this video, it's not anything that's music related. It's not about a particular artist or band or anything that I'm into. This book is actually a memoir slash autobiography on an actress that I'm familiar with. So the book that I want to give this brief review about is the book that Jennette McCurdy put out last year, August of last year, called "I'm Glad My Mom Died." So this is her memoir that she wrote, and the book got a lot of great reviews. Even now, it's still receiving so many accolades for how well this book was. And I gotta say, man, this was a really great book. I was glad I decided to pick it up and read it. Now, for those of you that may not be familiar with who Jennette McCurdy is, she's an actress. Actually, now she's a retired actress, and she's known for playing Sam Puckett on the Nickelodeon show iCarly, as well as the spin-off show Sam and Cat, which also starred Ariana Grande. So that's what she's best known for. Personally, I'm not all that familiar with iCarly. I used to watch episodes here and there. I'm more familiar with Sam and Cat, but I would watch those shows every now and then. But honestly, by the time that those shows really came on Nickelodeon, I was kind of already over Nickelodeon because my era of Nickelodeon was like the '90s, early 2000s. This was like what, late 2000s, early 2010s. So I wasn't really paying that much attention to Nickelodeon at that point. But this book is broken up into two parts. It's broken up into the before and after. So Jennette, she talks about her early upbringing, and it's not like the typical memoir because while she does discuss her childhood, her life, and so forth, the main focus is really about how her mother forced her into acting. If you've seen any interviews, Jennette, she has made it clear that she never really wanted to be an actress. She just wanted to live a normal life. But her mother made the decision that Jennette was going to be an actress, and she pretty much just got pushed into that world. And her mother was someone who battled with stage 4 breast cancer, and I don't know if that had something to do with it, or it was something happened like after her mother went into remission, where she just decided that she wanted Jennette to be an actress, and she just got thrust into that world. As a young girl, I think she was 6 years old when she first got into that. But the before part, that's all about Jennette's early upbringing and the beginnings of her getting into that world. And the after part it focuses on like after her mother passed and how she was still dealing with a lot of the after effects of in that world. But honestly, man, the book it's kind of an emotional roller coaster because there's a lot of moments where Jennette, she has this kind of sarcastic kind of sense of humor, but then there's also those moments where it's really sad and your heart really goes out to her. And the chapters in this book, they aren't long. Most of the chapters are maybe like a couple of pages, maybe three at the most. Some of them are only just one page, and then they go right to the next chapter. It's almost like reading journal entries. And I think another thing that Jennette did such a great job with was she did such a great job where she really gives the reader a sense of who she was at these particular periods of her life. For instance, in the before section of the book, where Jennette is talking about her early days, as a child growing up, she does such a great job at really taking the reader into how a innocent small child would act in this type of setting. The innocence and the naivety that comes with that. And the way that she looked up to her mother, because her mother, I know it's her mom, but her mother did some terrible things. I mean, the 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 psychological abuse and the manipulation that went into what she did to Jennette. I mean, it makes you wonder, like, how could any parent do that to their own child? But it really made your heart go out to her. And there was a lot of times where I was reading those parts where it's like you wanted to grab Jennette and you wanted to like just like get out of it, wake up, don't you see what's going on? But you kind of had to remember, like, okay, this is Jennette writing from her perspective of who she was as a child. And you have to understand, this was her mother. We all tend to think that our parents are perfect, most of us, that they can't do no wrong, and we don't want to think that they would do things that were wrong to us. So there were moments where, as a reader, we can tell what's going on as far as what her mother is doing. But Jennette, her mother was her best friend, her hero. So she would have these feelings of like, hey, something is not quite right about this. I don't think my mom is really supposed to be doing this. But she would like suppress those feelings because it was her mom. She would quickly suppress them, like, yeah, this is my mom. I'm pretty sure everything that she's doing is for my benefit. She's doing what's best for me, basically. But I don't want to go into too much detail because I don't want to spoil the book. Excuse me. Let me get a little closer to the mic here. But yeah, I don't want to go into too much detail because I don't want to spoil it too much for the readers. But man, her mother was something else. Her mother was something else, man. Just reading some of the things. I mean, even at the point when her cancer returned and she was pretty much dying. I mean, just reading the way that she was acting. You want to think that when people are on their deathbed, you want to think that maybe they will humble themselves, but that wasn't quite the case with her mother. I'll just leave it to you with that. But it also goes into the after section of the book. This is after her mom has passed away, and Jennette is still dealing with a lot of that mental abuse and the trauma and stuff of that nature. And it really took a toll on her early adulthood. And that's why I say that this book is also more than just a memoir. It can also act as a bit of maybe a self-help to maybe people out there that may be going through similar situations, because due to all the manipulation and control that her mother put on her, even going as far as to starving her own daughter, that was something. She developed anorexia. She even had an ED, or eating disorder, that carried on into her early adulthood, that it was a struggle for her to overcome. And it took a lot of steps. It took a lot of therapy. It took a lot of self-reflection for her to take those steps to overcome these things. And I'm gonna tell you, when she starts talking about the bulimia, oh man, that was hard. That was a hard read, because she doesn't hold back. She's very detailed about what she went through and what she did. It's like all that trauma, it was just really weighing down on her. And she even had poor relationships with guys, which it kind of seemed like she was just using that as a distraction to kind of take her mind away from her mom's passing and the after effects of her mom's passing. But she also describes her experience of being in show business, particularly Nickelodeon. When she finally booked the gig to iCarly, she talks about her experiences, how Miranda Crossgrove, her co-star, was a huge inspiration to her, because Miranda represented a freedom that she didn't have because her mother was so in control of everything. So Miranda really was a huge inspiration and influence on her. But also there's a particular person in here that she describes as the creator. And I'm pretty sure there's no secret who the creator is. It's none other than Dan Schneider. Dan Schneider, he had a long relationship with Nickelodeon. He was the creator behind a lot of hit shows on Nickelodeon, particularly Sam and Cat, Victorious, Zoe 101, of course iCarly. My particular era, I know he was the creator behind all that. So and maybe a few other shows, I'm not sure back then. But she talks about her experiences with him. Basically, the way she describes him, he was a creep, and he had this this Jekyll and Hyde kind of personality, where one minute he could be your biggest fan and the next minute he could be your biggest nemesis. Like he had some questionable behavior, man. The guy came off, he seemed very creepy, but I'm pretty sure she didn't. She just referred to him as the creator in this book, I guess for legal reasons. But we all know that his relationship with Nickelodeon ended a few years ago because of this questionable behavior and so forth. But that's just another thing that I think a lot of people should read this book, especially parents who may have young kids who want to get into the business, because she pretty much tells how the business doesn't show kindness just because you're a kid. If anything, because you're a child, they're gonna try to take more advantage of you. And there's just a lot of things that she had to endure as a little kid that she shouldn't have had to, man. She just wanted to be a young kid and have her childhood. And unfortunately, her mother didn't want that for her. She wanted something else. And the way that her mother acted, to me, was similar to how a lot of stage moms act. You know how the beauty pageants and I guess like the Dance Mom show that used to come on. I think a lot of those moms were a little loopy as well when it came to their daughters on that show. That's how her mom came off. And it's never really explicitly told, but I'm thinking that maybe her mom might have been dealing with some type of mental instability. I'm not sure. I think she might have had some mental health issues or something. I mean, I think it would be, considering what she was doing, but it's just never really explicitly told, like whether she was diagnosed with something or whatever. But in any regards, man, I just think that this is a really good book for anybody to read, especially young kids well, maybe not necessarily young children, because the book is adult. There is a lot of adult content and adult discussion in this book. But I think parents, at least, if you got young children that may want to get into the entertainment business, I think this book is something that you should definitely read, because I think it will give you a head start. I think it would be definitely eye opening to parents of how the industry treats kids. And this book really shows how so many why so many child stars like Jennette have such a hard time transitioning into adulthood and so forth, because a lot of times they got their parents that's doing abusive things, and then the industry is abusing them as well. And that's why you hear so many stories about these stars, going off the rails. And a lot of them, unfortunately, they don't get the chance to live and tell that story like Jennette has. So I think this book is a really good read for anybody. I recommend it for anybody that doesn't even know who Jennette is, who never watched Sam and Cat or iCarly. I still recommend it. But I will say this, to parents out there that decide to pick up this book. This book does have a lot of adult content, you know, pertaining to like sex and things of that nature. So don't pick up this book thinking like, hey, I'm gonna give this to little Jenny, 8-year-old Jenny, so she can read this. Nah, you don't want to do that. This is definitely a book for adults. But it was a great read. I'm glad that I decided to pick it up. I wasn't sure if I was gonna read it or not, man, but I'm glad I did. It was wonderful, and it was something a bit different for me. Not that I've never read books outside of like music autobiographies and stuff, but it was just good to like read something that was different, and to gain a little bit more knowledge on another type of entertainment in the industry as well. So definitely pick this book up. It's definitely worth the money. It's still readily available. Fortunately, I was able to get the hardcover, which I got from Walmart. So they do have copies of this at Walmart, at least at the one that I go to. So definitely check it out, man. I really enjoy this. And also be sure to watch some of Jennette's interviews that she's done. She's done a lot of interviews and stuff, discussing things, discussing this book in particular, man. But yeah, this was a wonderful read, and yeah, I really enjoyed it, man. It was a little bit rough in some parts to get through, but I got through it, and I'm glad I purchased it, man. So yeah, that's it for this book review of Jennette McCurdy's I'm Glad My Mom Died. Oh, and before I go, I want to point out that when this book first came out, actually before the book, Jennette, she did this one woman show, I think out in LA, that was based off this title called I'm Glad My Mom Died. But I think when the book was released, that caused a lot of the controversy and stuff. People were she received a little bit of backlash because of that title. But after reading this book, my opinion, I don't think that title is celebratory of her mom dying or anything. I don't think that's celebratory. I don't think that's what it's meant. But once you finish reading this book, once you read everything, I think you will kind of understand why she titled it that. I think you'll understand. I'm just going to leave it right there because I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but read the book and you'll get an understanding why she called it that. But yeah, man, really enjoyed this book, and I hope you guys enjoyed this book review. Hope you guys have enjoyed all my book reviews. Let me know in the comment section if you want me to like do more book reviews based on something different that's outside of the normal music related books, because this was actually a lot of fun to do this review. So let me know in the comments if you want me to do more book reviews on books outside of that music genre per se. But in anywho, if you guys enjoyed this book review, if you want to hit that thumbs up, give me a like, because it does help with the channel. Also, be sure to hit the subscribe button, tap that bell, that way you'll be notified whenever I drop new content. Also, I want to give a huge thank you to everybody that's been watching the videos, everybody that's been subscribing to the channel, that's been keeping up with the posts and everything. I really appreciate your support, and as always, hope everybody has a blessed day and a blessed week, and I hope you guys are doing well out there. So peace out, and hey, reading is fundamental, man. So hey, always pick up a book if you can and read. You know what I'm saying? Reading is great. But that's it for this this book review, man. So hope everybody has a wonderful day and a blessed week. Peace out, y'all.